What if your birthday wasn't about cake and candles, but about legacy, pressure, and the weight of history? George Washington's birthdays were quiet, almost invisible. Public self-celebration felt improper for someone leading a fragile new republic. The day usually passed at Mount Vernon with routine duties, long walks across the estate, and a modest dinner. No music, no speeches, no applause. Ironically, after death, the nation did what was never done in life. Parades appeared, bells rang, ceremonial salutes echoed across cities. Without ever seeking attention, this birthday became the foundation of a national holiday. Abraham Lincoln. There was rarely joy on these dates. Birthdays fell during the Civil War, surrounded by casualty lists and impossible choices. No decorations, no guests, often not even acknowledgement. After the assassination, the date transformed into a day of silence and reflection. Schools closed, churches filled, speeches replaced celebration. This birthday became a reminder that leadership can erase personal happiness. Thomas Jefferson. This birthday carried a strange irony. Born on July 4th, the same day the Declaration of Independence was celebrated, the personal and national blended into one. Most birthdays were spent at Monticello, surrounded by books, letters, and quiet reflection. There were dinners, but no public spectacle. In a final twist of history, death came on the same day as the nation's celebration, exactly 50 years after independence. Few birthdays have ever been so tightly woven into the identity of a country. John F. Kennedy. This was no ordinary celebration. Madison Square Garden filled with celebrities, politicians, and power. Cameras flashed non-stop. Millions watched. Then came Marilyn Monroe, and a performance that froze time. Behind the glamour stood immense pressure, Cold War tension, global responsibility, and political risk. The birthday symbolized a new era where leadership became entertainment. This wasn't just a party, it was the birth of modern political celebrity. Franklin D. Roosevelt. Birthdays happened during crisis, not once, but again and again. The Great Depression had shaken the nation to its core, and soon after came the devastation of World War II. On top of that, there was personal illness, a body weakened by polio, hidden from the public eye, but always present. There were no grand celebrations, no lavish parties, and no public spectacle. Instead, these days were often filled with meetings, strategy sessions, and difficult conversations about the future of the country. Sometimes, a birthday coincided with a fireside chat, not by design, but by necessity. The nation needed reassurance more than celebration. The radio became more important than cake. Private moments were modest. A small cake, a few close aides, quiet congratulations, nothing more. These birthdays weren't about getting older, they were about survival and helping an entire nation endure. Dwight D. Eisenhower. Military discipline shaped everything, even birthdays. The atmosphere was structured, orderly, and calm. Celebrations were brief and respectful, often taking place between meetings or official duties. A short gathering, a handshake, a polite smile. Sometimes, staff arranged a simple cake, but nothing more. There were no emotional speeches, no personal reflections shared publicly, and no dramatic gestures. Leadership here was about control and stability. The tone never shifted, even on a birthday. Those close to the administration recalled that these days felt almost like any other, by design. Consistency mattered more than ceremony. Even celebration followed the same principles as command: discipline, restraint, and quiet confidence. Ronald Reagan birthdays became moments of optimism, carefully shaped and warmly delivered. Humor was always at the center, especially jokes about age. Each passing year became an opportunity to reassure the public rather than concern them. Laughter wasn't accidental, it was intentional. Cakes were patriotic, often decorated in red, white, and blue. Staff members gathered. Cameras captured smiles that felt relaxed but purposeful. Behind the scenes, there was a clear understanding of symbolism. These celebrations weren't just personal, they were messages: strength, stability, positivity. Even during tense moments of the Cold War, birthdays projected confidence and calm. Optimism wasn't just policy, it was performance, and it worked. Barack Obama. Modern, balanced, and carefully controlled. Birthdays blended private moments with public visibility. Family was always present. Laughter, conversation, and informal warmth shaped the atmosphere. Sometimes musicians appeared. Sometimes staff gathered casually. Cake was shared, remarks were short, and the tone remained relaxed. But nothing was accidental. Social media played a key role. Photos were selected carefully, shared deliberately, and framed to create a relatable image. A leader who felt approachable, human, and contemporary. These celebrations reflected a modern presidency where personal life, public image, and digital storytelling merged seamlessly. The birthday wasn't just a day, it was part of the narrative. Donald Trump. Attention never faded, not even for a moment. Birthdays were never separated from public life. They blended naturally into rallies, speeches, interviews, and constant media coverage. Even when there was no official celebration, the day rarely passed quietly. Supporters often turned the moment into a show of loyalty, while critics watched closely for symbolism. At one point, conversations about a large-scale military parade near the birthday date entered the public arena, instantly sparking nationwide debate. For some, the idea represented strength and national pride. For others, it symbolized excess. Either way, the birthday became part of the political narrative. There were no private pauses, no clear line between celebration and governance. Visibility itself was the event. Cameras, crowds, headlines, all remained present. In this presidency, attention wasn't something that arrived on special occasions. It was constant. And the birthday simply became another chapter in an ongoing spotlight where celebration and leadership merged into one continuous performance. Joe Biden. Quiet, personal, reflective. These birthdays look nothing like rallies or spectacles. They unfold slowly, surrounded by close family, familiar faces, and moments that feel intentionally private. Celebrations are small. A simple cake, handwritten cards, warm smiles, sometimes a light joke, sometimes a pause for reflection. Age is acknowledged honestly, without performance or denial. Gratitude plays a central role. Loss is remembered. Time is respected. In a political era dominated by noise, urgency, and constant confrontation, restraint becomes the message. There is no need to project strength through spectacle. Calm presence speaks louder. Even when cameras appear, the atmosphere remains subdued. No attempt to turn the moment into a headline. No effort to amplify the occasion beyond what it is. Here, the birthday isn't about visibility, it's about perspective, and the understanding that leadership can also be quiet. Presidential birthdays aren't about candles or cake. They're about character revealed when power briefly pauses.